I was arrested on the demonstration. I went to Hyde Park, and as soon as I got into Hyde Park and the people were walking out into Park Lane, I was immediately grabbed by the police. When they grabbed me, they didn't even, just said COVID, and they grabbed me. And then I got surrounded and pushed to the floor. Now, they took me into internment, and that was in a place called Charles Street, right next to Downing Street. They'd locked off one street, which was a processing centre. And what they did was they search you, and then they take you in front of somebody who then says, we're going to issue you with a fixed penalty notice, and then we're going to de-arrest you. So basically they were grabbing people off the street to stop them being on protest, and then de-arresting them. And my experience in the previous 2 arrests was they don't actually issue the fixed penalty notice. So it's just like kidnapping. They kidnap you off the street, take you away from the demo, hurt your arms, make people scared to go on the demo again. So I said to them, what was the charge? What was my offence, Corona? The police officer said, the guy behind the desk said, not wearing a mask. I said, not wearing a mask in public is not a crime, and it's not even in the rules of the government. And then he said, well, we're going to de-arrest you. You're going to get a fixed penalty notice. And I said, can I have a sheet of paper to show that I was detained so that I can challenge it? Because what if you don't issue the fixed penalty notice? Then he said, no, you can't. Then the police officer arrested me, de-arrested me. So he unarrests me and says, like, come with us, we're going to let you out. And I said, I'm not leaving here unless you give me a sheet of paper saying why I was detained. The guy behind the desk heard this, and I said, I'm sitting down here until you issue me a piece of paper saying why I've been detained. Then the guy behind the counter said, arrest him again for having had a megaphone on the demonstration. So then they arrested me again. They stood me there in Charles Street for another hour and a half waiting for a cell to take me to. They took me to Wandsworth Police Station. At Wandsworth Police Station, the officer they searched me again before I got into the station. And when I got into the station, I got to the desk and they checked you in. And the desk officer said to the police officer who arrested me, he said, what's the charge? He said, breach of COVID. The desk officer then said, which must follow from the case on Wednesday, from last Wednesday from Piers, is the desk officer says, we cannot detain anyone for breaching COVID. He said, we can't detain anyone in the police station for breaching COVID. And the police officer, well, yeah, but I've been told to. And he said, no, we cannot detain anyone for breaching COVID. And then he said, search him again. So they searched me again, and this time searched me a bit more thoroughly, and they found a pill in my pocket, which is a prescription pill. It's a prescription pill for sleep apnea. And it's a pill that I've been prescribed, well, over the years. I get sleep apnea. It means you wake up in the night suddenly and you don't get enough sleep, and then you suddenly feel extremely sleepy in the daytime. A lot of people, students, for example, buy the same pills to help them study. They're called Modalert or Modafil, right? Now, I had 1.5 tablets of this. They're perfectly legal in Britain. There's nothing illegal about them whatsoever. They said, then the officer said, right, let's charge him with suspicion of having a controlled drug, right? So I was then charged under suspicion of having a controlled drug. I said, they're my prescription tablets. I said, they're legal tablets. And then he put me in the cells until 6 o'clock in the morning, the next morning. At 4 o'clock in the morning, they woke me up and they charged me, having tested my pills, they charged me with having category 2 narcotics, right? And I didn't say this the other day because I wanted to tell my mother first of all, because she might be a little bit worried, you know what I mean? So, class B drugs. Amphetamine, they said it is. So I said, look, unless someone has sent me a dud pill, this is not an amphetamine. And I told them what it is. I told them where I bought it off the internet. Now, the problem is this. Then they've now got me in court here on the 29th of December on a trumped up drugs charge, right? Now, on an amphetamine drugs charge. And my solicitor said to me, well, because they tried to make me a deal. They said to me, why don't you make a deal and admit what you did, and then you won't get a criminal record of it. Because if you get a criminal record, you won't be able to travel to many countries in the world, like the United States of America and so on. I said, I'm not guilty of anything. I'm not admitting to anything for them. And then he said, well, if it really isn't amphetamine, then the question comes, why doesn't their test distinguish between amphetamine and non-amphetamine? And how many other people have been tried after police stations have carried out tests on substances in people's pockets and then alleged that they've got drugs on them when they don't have drugs on them? And therefore, all their tests would have to be subject to re-examination. The tests are the problem at the police station. They do not have accuracy, which they claim. And they're scaring people, one, into admitting to drugs offences, two, into taking vaccines they do not need, all to make money and to repress people. This is what's going on in this country. I'm being framed by a false test. That's what's happening. They couldn't get me for a corona, so they try and get me on a false drugs charge. What sort of lunatic country is this country turning into? That's what I'm saying about what happened. Fuckers. Unbelievable.